that this is a king and a queen are that they have crowns on their heads and the cool clothes. I think you're talking about the robe. See the robe that they have on their shoulder? It kind of looks like a cape, really. Who do you think these boys are? Nicole, who are these boys?
I think the boy is the king's brother.
Maybe his son? What do we call a king's son? What do we call that? Let's see who can help her out. What do we call a king's son? Smriti, what do you call a king's son?
The princess.
The prince. The prince. So there are several princes in this picture, and a king and a queen. Very good. This is a picture. I'm going to put this on mute just to make sure that we don't have any background noise. This is a picture of a real royal family. This royal family is King George V. King George V was King of England over 100 years ago. He is the king. He is the leader of the country. A queen is the woman from a royal family, and she is the leader of the country. Their children are called princes and princesses. Some of them will one day grow up to become kings and queens. This picture shows 4 princes or sons of the king and queen. Okay, let's take a look here. Just as I am the teacher, I'm the leader of, put your microphone on mute. I am the teacher, I am the leader of the classroom, and Miss Lotion is our principal. She is the leader of the school. And the president is the leader of the United States of America. Some countries in the world have a leader called a king or a queen. This is the United States of America, right here, this section of our map. This is a map of the world. And if I were to peel the world like an orange and make it flat, this is what it would look like. So the world is really round like a globe, but if we were to lay it out flat for a map, this is what it would look like. So this is the United States of America. This right here, this part, see this orange area? That's called Europe. That's the name of the continent. And a country in that continent we're going to be talking about today is called England. So there's England. It's on the continent of Europe. We are in America, and that's on the continent of North America. Great Britain or England has a king or queen. They still have a king and queen today. Long ago, many countries had king or queens, but now fewer countries have kings and queens. Yes. Yes, Anya?
I know the queen of England today.
Yes, that's what I'm getting ready to show you. Yep, let's put our microphone on mute. This is the royal family of Great Britain today, of England. The Queen of England is right here. She looks a little bit different than the queen we saw from long ago. But nevertheless, this is the queen, Queen Elizabeth, and her husband is beside her. He's kind of cut off on the edge. He's the king, or he isn't he's Prince Philip. And then she has her son, Prince Charles, and he has 2 sons, Prince Henry and Prince William. And then they have wives, and children. So this is the royal family from now. Today you will learn about the royal family. Say the word royal. When you hear the word royal, you know that it belongs to a king, queen, prince, or princesses. The queen sits on a royal chair and drinks from a royal cup. The prince and princess ride in a royal carriage. Think of a different royal thing the royal family might have. Use the word royal when you talk about it. So they might have a royal car. Or if you were Prince George, who's 5 years old, you might have a royal toy or a royal fork. Anything that belongs to the king or queen or prince or princess is royal. Okay. This is just another picture of the royal family. So there's the king and queen and her son, Prince Charles, and his wife, Camilla. And then his son, Prince William, and his wife, Princess Catherine, and Prince Harry and Princess Meghan. She's from America. Okay, so you will also hear the word kingdom. Say kingdom. A kingdom is a place or land ruled by a king or queen. Long ago, there used to be many kingdoms in the world. Everyone in the kingdom used to listen to the queen or king. All right. Another thing I want to talk to you guys about is the word symbols. Symbols. We see symbols every day. Who can tell me some of the symbols they see in these pictures? Raise your hand. Tell me some of the symbols. Jonyan, what are some of the symbols you see in this picture? Unmute your microphone and tell me.
The stop sign and the American flag.
Yeah, there's a stop sign and the American flag. You know what those items are just from looking at the picture. This also means that there's a crosswalk and people crossing the street. These are examples of symbols. Well, the royal family has symbols as well that you could recognize. These are symbols of royalty, of a king or a queen. This first symbol, if you've seen Frozen, you know when Elsa, it's coronation day and she's going to be crowned queen, she has to hold an orb and this thing, which isn't a stick, there's a fancy Nancy name. It's called a scepter. So there's an orb, a scepter, and a crown. These are all symbols of a king or a queen. I want you to listen carefully as you hear about the royal family and what it's like to live in a royal family. Let's begin. Let me start it here. Sorry, I had the wrong page. Okay. Look at this fancy building. Can you believe this was actually somebody's house? Look at that. Look at that house. Well, it's not just any house. It's a palace. This palace used to belong to the Queen of France. What do you think it's like inside? Raise your hand. Tell me, what's it like inside this big place? What do you think it's like? Someone I haven't really heard from. Ryan, what's it like in there?
I hear one of your stories. I know there are a lot of rooms in this.
Yes, There are probably hundreds of rooms in that building. It must be nice if it were built for a queen. In fact, this palace has 440 rooms inside. As the leaders of their countries, kings and queens often had the biggest and the best homes in the land, known as palaces or castles. So a castle and a palace are the same thing. As the leader, the queen or king rules a particular area of land and the people here who live there. A king or queen leads and makes decisions about a particular area of land and the people who live there. The word rules can have other meanings. The word rules can also mean how to do something. Like one rule in school is that you have to sit down with your hand raised. This area of land is called a kingdom. So this is the palace, and the king or queen live in the palace. The city that they live in, or the country, that land, is called their kingdom. Today, however, there are not as many kingdoms or kings and queens as there used to be. It's good to be king. That's an old saying. If you look at this king, whose name was King Richard II of England, you begin to get the idea of why this saying holds true. If you walked into a palace in England 300 years ago and saw this person, you wouldn't have any trouble guessing he was a king. As the most important and powerful people in the kingdom, kings and queens always got the best of everything. They got the best houses, the best clothing, and the best food. Kings did not have to say please and thank you. They didn't even have to dress themselves. They had servants to do that for them. Servants are men and women who take care of the things the king does not want to do. For example, if your mom said to clean your room, is that something you really want to do? Not really. But if you were a prince or a princess, you would have a servant to do it for you. Pretty much everything a king or a queen used, touched, or owned was called royal. If something is royal, it belongs to the king or the queen. The soft, fluffy robes King Richard II wore in this picture were called the royal robes. The cup he drank from was called the royal cup. And if it was royal, that meant only the king or queen or someone in the royal family, such as his daughter or his son, was allowed to use it. So if it was royal, the only people that could use it would be the king, queen, or their children. King Richard II is holding two things in this picture. In one hand, he is holding the royal orb. In the other hand, he is holding the royal scepter. These were ceremonial objects. Ooh, those are big words. Or things that a king wore or held just to remind people that he was in charge. Remember when we talked about symbols and how you knew what a stop sign was and a crosswalk and the American flag? Well, if you lived long ago in England and you saw an orb and a scepter, you knew, oh, that person must be the king because he has those royal objects. That hat he's wearing is called a crown, which is no ordinary hat. Crowns were usually made out of some kind of precious metal like gold or silver and decorated with fancy jewels like rubies and emeralds and sapphires. These jewels were called the crown jewels. Like the scepter and the orb, the crown was another important symbol of the king's power. Most of you knew that symbol today before we even got started. A symbol is something that represents or stands for something else. Here's a close-up picture of a crown. It's made of gold and loaded with fancy pearls and other jewels. A hat like this would not be good for keeping your head warm or the sun out of your eyes. it wouldn't be very good for much of anything except for a king or queen who ruled the kingdom. So this is just a symbol. It's not meant to protect their son from the eyes or keep your head warm if it's cold outside. This is just meant to be a symbol worn by the king or queen. And because the king and queen have the best of everything, it's made of the finest metal and the most beautiful jewels. Oops. A few hundred years ago, it would have been nice to be a king or queen ruling your very own kingdom, making all the rules and laws that people had to follow. But it would have also been very difficult. Kings and queens had big responsibilities. Every day, people came to them to ask for money or advice. And every day, they had to make important decisions about things that were happening in the kingdom. A famous king named Charlemagne was so important that an artist made a stained glass window with his image. Look at his fancy chair in this window. The king's chair was called a throne, and as you might imagine, only the king was allowed to sit there. His throne was raised up on a platform so he would appear tall and important, even when he was sitting down. What's that in his hand? What's he holding here? What is that? Let's see. What's he holding? Ryan, what's he holding?
A scepter.
Actually, in this one, he's holding a sword. He has the orb, but he's also holding a sword. Charlemagne's holding a sword and an orb to remind people that he is king. Over the next couple of weeks, you will learn more about kingdoms, kings, queens, and everything having to do with royalty. Okay, now I'm going to ask you guys some questions. But before we do that, let's get our wiggles out. Stand up, and if you have headphones on, you might want to take them off. Do 10 jumping jacks. I'm going to count. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, come on and sit back down. All right. What is a king? What is a king? What does a king do? Who can raise their hand and answer that question? What does a king do? Let's try, are we? What does a king do? He is let's call in a friend to help you. Who can help her out? What does a king do? Estelle, what does a king do?
I think he makes the rules.
He's a leader, very good, which means he has a lot of responsibility and he does make the rules. He actually rules over a land, which is called a what? What do you call the land that a king or queen rules over? Anya?
A kingdom or palace?
A kingdom. The palace is what the king lives in. The palace or castle. Excellent job, friends. Excellent job. Tell me about the items in this picture. What symbol is King Charlemagne wearing that lets you know he's a king? What are some symbols that he has in here that let you know he is a king? Nicole?
He wears a crown and he has a knife and he wears.
That's not a knife. That's a sword.
King clothes.
His robe, his crown, and his sword.
That's time of Easter.
Okay, very good. Adeline, what else is he wearing that lets you know he is king?
He got the seat under his thing.
You mean the throne? Yes, he has a throne he can sit on. And do you remember what this one was called? It's an orb. Orb. He's holding an orb. Carolyn, are there any other symbols that you see that make him a king?
Sword. And
yes.
I have something to tell you.
What?
I have a crown too.
You have a crown as well. We're actually all gonna, if you have a crown, you all can wear them tomorrow for listening and learning. If you don't have a crown, I'm gonna put one on our weekly agenda tomorrow and you can print it out, decorate it, and wear it if you would like. Okay.
Okay, I hope I'll find it.
Yeah, it's okay if you don't because I'll put one online. Okay, let's think pair share for just a second.
Miss Kate.
Hold on, Nicole. Let's think pair share. What do you think you would like about being a king or queen, and what do you not think you would like? What do you think you would like about being a king and queen, king or queen, and what do you think you would not like? Who wants to answer that? What would you like, and what would you not like? Ryan, what would you like?
I like a crown. But
You
I
would-
don't like no cats like no tits like that. And no, and I think that maybe I say no because maybe I get lost in it.
Okay. Okay. All right, Jonyan, what would you like or not like about being a king?
Being a king, like to have a crown.
You would like to have a crown? Okay, why would you like having a crown?
To feel good.
Okay, now what would you not like about being a king? I can tell you what I wouldn't like. I would not like all the responsibilities of having to make those hard, important decisions for the whole kingdom. That would be hard for me. It would be a lot of responsibility to be in charge of an entire kingdom.
So I know what I
Also,
want to be a king.
yeah. Also,
There's no plans.
yeah. I would like to have all of the beautiful things that a king or queen gets to have, but I wouldn't like the responsibility of it. All right, very good, friends. You did a wonderful job with today's lesson. Like I said, nope, you just wait a minute. Tomorrow, if you have a crown or you'd like to make a crown, you can wear it to listening and learning tomorrow, and we can all, hold on, Anya, you need to wait a minute, and we can all wear that tomorrow. Anya, hold on, and I'll call on you. The rest of you guys are free to go, and I will see you tomorrow morning for skills, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye. Go quietly, please. Yes, Jonyan. Okay. No, Nicole, hold on. Jonyan had a question. Hold on. I'll get to you, I promise. Jonyan, what's your question?
There's a video of I enjoyed the video, and also he's